Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, when I say that a woman never forgets a man who is genuinely emotionally present, I'm not talking about the kind of presence where you're in the same room, scrolling on your phone, occasionally nodding to make it look like you're listening. I'm talking about the presence that you can feel, the kind where your eyes, your attention, your whole energy are focused on her, and she knows without a doubt that you are there in that moment, fully, completely with her. You see, emotional presence is rare. In a world where we're constantly distracted, constantly pulled in 100 different directions, someone who can stop everything and truly listen becomes unforgettable. It's not even about having all the right answers. Women don't need a man who can solve every problem, but they deeply value a man who is willing to hear them without judgment, without rushing, without trying to change the subject to something he's more comfortable with. When a woman speaks her truth, whether it's about something small that annoyed her or something deep that's been weighing on her heart, she's sharing a piece of herself. And how you receive that piece makes all the difference. It's in the way you lean in, not away. It's in the way you let her finish her thoughts without cutting in to offer quick, fixed solutions. It's in the way you acknowledge what she's feeling. I understand why you feel that way. Or, that must have been hard for you. Instead of dismissing her emotions or making them about yourself. It's about making her feel safe enough to open up again and again. That's what emotional presence does. It builds safety. And when a woman feels safe with you emotionally, she will connect with you on a level that goes far beyond the surface. There's something magnetic about a man who listens in a way that makes a woman feel seen. She remembers that moment because it's not just about the conversation. It's about the way you made her feel like she mattered in a world where everyone is rushing past each other. And here's the truth. When she talks about her day, her fears, her dreams, she's not just looking for your ears, she's looking for your heart. She's looking to see if you're willing to step into her world for a moment, to feel what she's feeling, to carry the weight with her. Now, let me tell you why this matters so much. Many people underestimate how deep emotional presence goes. It's not just about romance. It's about trust. It's about showing her, without needing to say it every time, you can count on me. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere when things get messy, because it's easy to be present when everything's light and fun and easy. But the men who are remembered are the ones who are present when the emotions are heavy, when she's not at her best, when she's vulnerable enough to show you the sides of her she hides from the rest of the world. And here's something else. Emotional presence isn't just about reacting to her. It's also about proactively creating moments where she can share. Ask her how she's feeling, not just how her day was. Notice when she's quieter than usual and gently invite her to talk about it. When you remember something she mentioned a week ago and you follow up. Hey, you mentioned that project at work was stressing you out. How's it going now? That's the kind of detail that stays in her mind because she realizes you were listening even when the conversation was over. Emotional presence also means you allow her to have her emotions without trying to control them. You're not telling her to calm down when she's upset or don't cry when she's emotional. You understand that feelings are part of being human and you make space for them. That's not weakness. That's strength. Because it takes a confident man to hold space for someone else's emotions without feeling threatened by them. When you are emotionally present, you communicate with more than words. It's in your body language. Your eyes on her instead of the TV. Your phone face down because she's your priority in that moment. Your posture open and relaxed because you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. It's in your tone, calm, warm, and steady, even when the conversation is tense. It's in your consistency. Because presence isn't a one-time thing. It's a pattern she learns to trust. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't just make her remember you. It makes her want to invest more in you. Emotional connection is the foundation for intimacy, for partnership, for love that lasts. Without it, everything else is surface level. But with it, you can weather storms together because she knows you get her, not just the smiling, laughing version, but the raw, unfiltered, authentic version too. A man who can be emotionally present is rare, but a man who can be emotionally present consistently, that's unforgettable. That's the man she compares others to, the man whose voice she still hears in her mind when she's trying to figure out who really cares. And not because of dramatic declarations or over the top gestures, but because of the quiet, steady, irreplaceable feeling that when she was with you, she wasn't alone in whatever she was going through. The truth is, emotional presence doesn't fade from memory. Long after the specific words are forgotten, the feeling remains. She remembers feeling valued, respected, and understood. She remembers feeling like someone truly cared, without trying to control her or fix her. Just being there, fully, completely, and without conditions. And that's the thing. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to always say the right thing. But if you can master this, if you can be the man who listens deeply, who notices the unspoken, who shows up not just when it's convenient, but when it's needed, then you will never be just another chapter in her life. You'll be a story she tells without even meaning to, a standard she holds without even trying, and a presence she carries with her long after you've left the room. Because the truth is, when a man is genuinely, deeply, and consistently emotionally present, a woman never forgets him. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just one word. But it's one of the most powerful forces in any relationship, and it's also one of the most telling. Because you can tell a lot about a man not by how he treats a woman when he wants something from her, but by how he treats her when he has nothing to gain. That's when respect, or the lack of it, shows itself most clearly. When I talk about a woman never forgetting a man who consistently treats her with respect, I'm not just talking about opening doors or pulling out chairs, though those little acts of courtesy are wonderful. I'm talking about something deeper, something that goes beyond gestures. It's the way you speak to her, the way you speak about her when she's not around, the way you handle disagreements, and the way you honor who she is even when it's inconvenient for you. A man who respects a woman shows it in his tone. He doesn't raise his voice to dominate a conversation. He doesn't use words as weapons when he's angry. He doesn't make jokes at her expense just to get a laugh from other people. Instead, he communicates in a way that says, I value you, even when I don't agree with you. Respect doesn't mean you'll see eye to eye on everything. No one does. But it does mean that even in disagreement, you don't cross certain lines. And when a man holds those lines, a woman notices. Respect also shows in the little moments most people overlook. It's remembering that she's her own person, not just an extension of you. It's understanding that she has her own goals, her own passions, her own dreams, and encouraging her to chase them without making her feel guilty for prioritizing herself sometimes. It's trusting her to make her own decisions and supporting those decisions, even if you might have chosen differently. That level of respect says, I see you as capable, intelligent, and worthy of making choices for your own life. And here's the thing women remember, how a man makes them feel about themselves. When you respect a woman, you make her feel worthy, valued, and strong. When you disrespect her, whether through words, actions, or even subtle dismissals, you chip away at that feeling. Sometimes it's not the big, obvious betrayals that are the most damaging. Sometimes it's the small, repeated moments where she feels unheard, unseen, or underestimated. Public respect matters just as much as private respect. It's one thing to treat her well when you're alone, but how you treat her in front of other people tells her even more. If you're the kind of man who speaks about her with admiration, who defends her when someone tries to belittle her, who makes sure no one crosses her boundaries, you become unforgettable. Not because you make a scene, but because you quietly but firmly show that you value her in every setting. And respect is not just about protecting her from disrespect from others. It's about not being the source of it yourself. It's making sure your actions align with your words, because nothing erodes respect faster than hypocrisy. If you say you value honesty, then be honest. If you say you're committed, then act like it. If you say you'll be there, show up. Women don't forget men who keep their word, because in a world full of empty promises, follow-through stands out like a beacon. Another layer of respect is honoring her boundaries. Every woman has them, and they might look different from yours. Maybe she needs time to herself after work. Maybe there are certain topics that are sensitive for her. Maybe she has limits on how much she's willing to share on social media. A man who listens to those boundaries and doesn't push past them just to get his way is a man she will remember. Because boundaries aren't walls. They're doors she chooses to open when she feels safe. Respecting them means she can trust you with more of herself over time. And respect is not a one-time achievement. It's not something you earn once and then coast on forever. It's something you demonstrate day after day. In big decisions and in the tiniest interactions. It's in the way you answer the phone when she calls, the way you introduce her to people, the way you consider her feelings when making plans. It's in the way you handle her vulnerabilities. With care, never as ammunition. A man who respects a woman doesn't make her feel like she has to shrink to make him comfortable. He celebrates her victories without turning them into a competition. He doesn't feel threatened by her intelligence, her success, or her strength. He admires them. And here's something that often gets overlooked: a man who respects a woman respects all women, not just the one he's dating. The way you treat waitresses, cashiers, colleagues, and even strangers says more than you think. Women notice these things and they remember them. The truth is, respect builds trust, and trust builds intimacy. Without it, everything else falls apart. You can be charming, you can be romantic, you can be funny, but if you don't treat her with respect, those things won't last. But when respect is the foundation, everything else grows stronger. Respect also means owning your mistakes. No man is perfect, and women don't expect perfection. But a man who can admit when he's wrong, apologize sincerely, and make a real effort to do better earns a different kind of respect in return. That humility says, I value this relationship more than my ego. And that's powerful. When a woman looks back at a man who truly respected her, she remembers more than just how he treated her. She remembers how he made her feel about herself. She remembers feeling safe, valued, and supported. She remembers that she never had to question if he saw her as his equal, because his actions made it clear. She remembers that she could be her full self without fear of judgment or dismissal. And that's why respect is unforgettable. It's not just about manners, it's about mindset. It's about seeing her as a whole person and treating her accordingly every single day. Because the truth is, when a man treats a woman with consistent, genuine respect, both in public and in private, she will never forget him. There's something special about a man who pays attention to the little things. I'm not talking about grand, over-the-top gestures that only happen once in a while. I'm talking about the consistent, thoughtful efforts that show a woman she's on your mind, even when you're not together. Because here's the truth. Anyone can buy flowers on Valentine's Day, but not everyone remembers her favorite coffee order on a random Tuesday morning just because she mentioned it once. Those are the moments that stay with her. Thoughtful effort is about noticing, really noticing the details of who she is. It's remembering the things she tells you, even the ones she doesn't expect you to remember. It's not about spending a fortune or planning elaborate surprises every week. It's about creating moments that say, I see you, I hear you, I care enough to make this personal. Because the truth is, the most unforgettable gestures are often the ones that are simple, but deeply intentional. A man who makes thoughtful effort doesn't just listen to her words. He listens to her life. He notices when she's been working late and leaves her a note wishing her a restful night. He hears her talk about how much she misses a certain dessert from her childhood, and the next week, he finds it for her. It's not about trying to impress. It's about making her feel valued in ways that are unique to her. That's what separates someone who's just there from someone who truly cares. Surprises play a big part in this too. Not the kind meant to shock or overwhelm, but the kind that brighten her day. Maybe it's bringing home her favorite snack without her asking. Maybe it's writing a quick message and leaving it in her bag so she finds it later. Maybe it's taking her to a place she once mentioned wanting to visit, even if it's just a quiet spot in the park. The beauty of surprises like these is that they don't have to be extravagant. They just have to be meaningful. And here's something important. Thoughtfulness isn't about perfection. You don't have to get everything exactly right every time. What matters most is the intention behind it. When a woman sees that you've paid attention, that you've remembered, that you've acted on something she shared with you, she feels special. And feeling special isn't about being treated like she's above everyone else. It's about knowing that you see her as worth the extra effort. Consistency matters here, too. A single thoughtful gesture is lovely, but when those moments become a pattern, they create a lasting impression. It's easy to put in effort at the beginning of a relationship, when everything is new and exciting. But the men women never forget are the ones who keep showing up with that same level of attention years down the line. Because when the excitement of the new fades, thoughtfulness is what keeps the connection alive. Thoughtful effort also has a way of making a woman feel understood in ways words can't. It's one thing to say, "I care about you," but it's another to anticipate her needs before she even has to ask. Maybe you notice she's had a stressful day and you run her a bath or put on her favorite movie. Maybe you know she's got an early meeting tomorrow and you make sure her coffee is ready. These aren't just tasks. They're signals that you're tuned into her life and invested in her well-being. And don't underestimate the power of celebrating the small wins. Thoughtful men don't wait for huge milestones to express their pride or joy. They acknowledge the everyday victories, finishing a tough project at work, trying something new, or even just making it through a hard week. That recognition tells her that you see and appreciate not just the big things, but the effort she puts into her daily life. Sometimes, thoughtfulness is about creating shared memories. Planning a simple day trip, starting a little tradition, or doing something spontaneous together builds moments she can look back on with a smile. These memories aren't always about where you go or what you do. They're about how she felt in those moments. Did she feel seen? Did she feel cared for? Did she feel like the center of your attention? That's what she remembers. And here's the beautiful thing about this kind of effort. It builds trust. When a man consistently makes those small but meaningful gestures, it tells a woman that she can rely on him to pay attention, to care, and to follow through. It tells her she's not going to be taken for granted. That trust makes the relationship stronger, and it also makes it harder for her to ever forget you. But here's the catch. You can't fake it. Thoughtfulness comes from genuine care. If you're only doing things to get a reaction or to win points, she'll feel it. Women have a way of sensing when something's done out of obligation instead of love. The men who leave a mark are the ones who give freely without keeping score, simply because they want to make her life a little brighter. And let's be honest, life gets busy. It's easy to get caught up in routines, to let the small details slide. But the men who stand out are the ones who choose not to. They're the ones who, even in the middle of chaos, take a moment to think, what's one small thing I can do to make her smile today? And then they do it. That choice, made over and over, is what turns ordinary moments into unforgettable ones. It's also worth mentioning that thoughtful effort isn't one size fits all. What makes one woman feel special might not matter as much to another. That's why paying attention is so important. The more you learn about her, the way she lights up when you bring up a certain topic, the things that make her laugh, the gestures that make her relax, the more you can tailor your actions to what matters most to her. That's what makes it personal. And that's what makes it last in her memory. At the end of the day, thoughtful efforts and meaningful surprises aren't about the gifts themselves. They're about the message they send. They say, "You're important to me. I notice you. I remember you. And I'm willing to put in the effort to show you." And that, more than anything, is why a woman will never forget a man who makes her feel that way. When life is good, it's easy to show up. It's easy to laugh together, take pictures, go out and enjoy all the beautiful moments. But the truth is, every relationship will face seasons where things aren't easy. When the days are heavy, when the laughter doesn't come as quickly, when challenges feel bigger than the strength you think you have. And that's when a woman learns the most about a man. Because it's not just how you treat her when everything is shining that she'll remember. It's how you treat her when the storms come. A man who is steadfast in difficult times leaves a mark that never fades. There's something unforgettable about someone who doesn't flinch when life gets messy. Maybe she's going through a loss. Maybe her career has hit a roadblock. Maybe she's facing health struggles or personal battles she can't even fully explain. In those moments, what she needs is not someone to fix everything. Most of the time, no one can, but someone who stays. Someone who chooses to stand next to her in the storm, even when it would be easier to walk away. Steadfast support isn't about big speeches or dramatic promises. It's about consistency. It's in the quiet ways you show up without being asked. It's holding her hand when she's crying and not letting go until she's ready. It's making sure she eats when she's too stressed to think about food. It's sitting with her in silence because she doesn't have the energy to talk. But knowing your presence still brings comfort. It's telling her, we're going to get through this, and meaning it with every fiber of your being. The truth is, difficult times reveal more about love than good times ever will. And a woman will always remember who was there for her when she felt at her weakest. She'll remember the man who didn't get impatient when her mood wasn't bright. She'll remember the man who didn't make her feel like a burden when she needed more than she could give back. She'll remember the man who didn't take her vulnerability as an inconvenience, but as an opportunity to love her even more deeply. Sometimes being steadfast means making sacrifices. Maybe it's rearranging your schedule to be where she needs you. Maybe it's taking on extra responsibilities so she can focus on what matters most in that moment. Maybe it's simply being willing to sit in discomfort because you care more about her well-being than your own convenience. These sacrifices don't go unnoticed. They're the moments that etch themselves into her heart. And it's not just about being there for the big, obvious struggles. Steadfast support also means showing up for the small, daily battles that can wear someone down just as much. It means listening when she needs to vent, even if you've had a long day yourself. It means encouraging her when she doubts herself, even when you're tired of saying the same words of reassurance. It means staying calm when she's overwhelmed, because your stability helps her find her own. Here's the thing. When you're there for a woman in her darkest moments, you're not just offering comfort in that moment. You're building trust that will last far beyond it. You're showing her that she can count on you, that your love is not conditional on her being at her best. You're showing her that you're not only in love with her laughter and beauty and strength. You're in love with her humanity, with every part of her, even the parts that are hurting. And she will never forget that. She will never forget the man who stayed when things were hard, the man who saw her at her lowest and didn't think less of her, the man who believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. Because when someone stands by you in your weakness, it makes their presence in your joy even more meaningful. There's also a quiet confidence in a man who can hold steady in difficult times. He's not panicked by her pain. He's not resentful of her needs. He's grounded enough to be her anchor. That kind of presence is rare, and it's powerful. It makes a woman feel safe in a way that words can't capture. Because she knows no matter what life throws her way, she won't have to face it alone. Steadfast support doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it's simple. Making her a cup of tea when she's too tired to get up, taking care of little tasks she's been too stressed to handle, or just reminding her to breathe. Sometimes it's checking in throughout the day with a quick message that says, I'm thinking of you. Sometimes it's letting her cry without trying to stop her, because you understand that letting it out is part of healing. What matters is that she feels your commitment, not just to the relationship, but to her as a person. That you're not just there for what she can give you, but for who she is, even when she's not at her best. That's what makes a man unforgettable. Not just loving a woman when she's easy to love, but loving her when she's tired, stressed, or unsure of herself. And let's be honest, being steadfast in difficult times isn't always easy. It requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to put aside your own discomfort. But those moments are where love proves itself. Anyone can be there for the sunshine. But it takes a certain kind of man to stay for the rain, to hold the umbrella even when he's getting soaked, to keep walking with her until the storm passes. When you've been through enough in life, you realize that those who stand by you in the hardest seasons are the ones who truly matter. And for a woman, the man who does that will always stand out. Not because he was perfect, not because he had all the answers, but because he chose to stay when it would have been easier to leave. Because the truth is, when a man stands by a woman in her most difficult moments, offering strength, patience, and unwavering presence, she will never forget him.